Welcome to the beautiful Philippines, Bohol, and in a province and a barangay called Doljo, Doljo. And what I want to share with you today is the power, the impact that several major storms had on the ecosystem behind. This is the Bellevue Hotel, and then the next two big resorts are 500 feet and 800 feet away. The Modala Resort, there's two parts of the Modala Resort. And what I want to share with you today is, number one, this is a relatively public beach. You are allowed to come here via a road that runs along the west side of the Bellevue Hotel. There's a concrete road that runs where that white van is over there. You can come that way. You can walk down from the main road, or you could drive your car and park it here. Or there's a more public road on the east side of the Bellevue. There's a park over there where you can rent little cabanas, the little cabanas that you see there, for $10 per day. And the way you do that is you have to come here. There's no phone, and there's a personal property. The owner of that property lives right behind those cabanas. And you go there and you see the guard, and if there's anything available, they will let you know. There's no phone number that the guard could give me, even though he guards that property. He had no phone number, and he did not know the internet address. So that is what we say, welcome to the Philippines, baby. So what I wanted to share with you today is, this is the beautiful Bellevue Hotel. This hotel has been here since before I moved here, and I moved here 10 years ago plus 1 month this week. What they did when I got here, the beach was located, you see those lounge chairs over there? The beach was very close, high tide was very close to where those lounge chairs were. And that was already filled in once or twice when they built the hotel. But when I got here, to the second step of the steps that lead up to the hotel deck, which would be right there, the second step up, they filled in the beach with white sand. They brought thousands of trucks, 2 million cubic feet of white sand. They put it on the beach. Now, they made the beach from the second step up over there, which is about the top of the lounge chairs. Let's say it like that. How high the lounge chairs are is how high the sand was 8 years ago. They brought in thousands and thousands of trucks. Day after day after day after day after day, trucks came in and dumped this beautiful white sand onto the beach area from the tree line over there all the way down to the far side, the west side of the hotel. But they also did the same thing for the Modala. And the Modala is a property that's 3 or 4 times the size of the Bellevue. And I mention that because it's important. Where the cranes are, the jump cranes down at the end, that is the west. The sun sets over there in the west. They are building 2 more hotels, approximately 700 rooms total, from my best, what I can get from the guards. About 700 more rooms. And they'll fill that beach in also. What used to be here, when I moved here in 2013, 14, When I moved here in March of 2014, what you would be looking at now, all of what you're looking at now would have been little 10, 12, 13, 15 foot bamboo huts. And all over here where you're looking at sand, no, that was ocean. That was the Daggett in 2014. And there were hundreds, if not more, several hundred small boats like this boat here. Several hundred small boats, even smaller than that, even 9 feet, 10 feet long. And in from this hotel here, from the Bellevue, to the jump cranes down at the end of the island, there was several thousand people lived here in these little huts. And the huts were right on the beach, and they went right up to the main road. So there were no hotels down there past the Bellevue, and there was no industry down there. The Modala Hotel, there's a Castle Resort. Castle Resort, that's always been here. But all of the huts were built around that. That is probably from the 70s, the Castle Resort. So that was here. And then when the Modala came in, they bought out the squatters' rights to the people that lived on the beach and lived in the forest between the hotel and the end of the island. There were well over 1,000 people here. There was a hut every 20 or 30 feet with an entire family, and that family made money by fishing this reef area here. So when the Modala came in, they offered a certain amount of money to each of the people that were squatting on the land, and they moved the people from this side of the island to the other side of the island, which is about 2,000 feet behind the Bellevue Hotel now, in front of the hotel. Then they came in and pumped millions and millions of cubic feet with trucks of sand along the beach down there. And they raised the level of the sand, as I started talking about this last week, to the top level of those benches, the reclining chairs. They raised it to about that height. I can't see the screen. I have an idea what I'm pointing at, but I can't see the screen. The sun is too bright. The nits in this screen are not powerful enough. But they raised the sand to about the height of the top of those chairs, the second step going up to the hotel. Then they brought the sand out towards this direction here, towards me, and they raised it up level with those steps all the way out to right around where these buoys start. So it was, where the buoys are, the sand was 7 or 8 feet high. And then where the steps, it was level all the way there. And then when they stopped dumping the truckloads, it just ended like this on the 45-degree angle. They did the same exact thing behind the Hennon Hotel in Alona Beach. They just dumped sand, made it to the height they wanted, and then wherever they stopped dumping the sand, it was just a 45-degree angle. Well, we had several major storms coming from the west, which is where the jump cranes are. Several major storms. And the storms washed all those millions of cubic feet, plus beach that had been there for hundreds of years. Apparently, there wasn't many storms that came from that direction, because when I moved here, where I am standing now, at this tide, right now, at this tide, which is high tide now. I should be standing in 4 or 5 feet of water. But all the sand from up there and over there, and all the sand from the Modala, and then where they're building further, they dumped hundreds of thousands of cubic feet of sand where they're building, in preparation to build the beach. Well, all that sand washed from the west to the east, because it did. That's the way the storms washed the sand. So it eroded the beach back from the original area of where the beach was. It eroded the beach back 75 to 100 feet. So it took 100 feet of beach that's been here for how many hundreds or thousands of years. Plus it took all the sand from the Modala and all the sand from the hotel here. And where I am standing now at this tide, at this time, I should be in 4 feet of water. And the problem with that is that it also, all this area here that has this tidal pool here, this was never here before. When I moved here, there was no tidal pool. It was the hotel, it was the beach, and then it was the ocean. And then this area here, all of what you see here, all of what you see over there, all of this was grass, seagrass, seagrass, and what some people might call river grass, the long flow. It's almost like a Kentucky bluegrass, but the grass is 2 feet long. So what happened is, this area here, which is known as the coral zone, got filled up with those millions of cubic feet of sand from the Bellevue and from the Modala. And the same thing happened at the Henan in Alona Beach. So theoretically, where I'm standing right now should be 4 feet of water at high tide. And we are at high tide now. It's 2 o'clock in the afternoon. 3 o'clock is high tide in Phang Lao. So we don't get 4 feet of water here anymore. So what also happened is, if I was able to take my GoPro, which I brought the box for, if I was able to go out there today, all the sand that's not here directly on this beach that washed away towards the ocean, it's all washed out towards the ocean or the Dagat on the far side of that observation deck. So theoretically, where that observation deck is right now, if we were to walk out there would be exactly 3 feet of water, 1 meter deep. But where that observation deck is, 10 years ago, was 8 and 9 feet of water. So the beach not only washed in and made these tidal pools, but the sand washed the sand down towards the ocean. And while doing so, it covered the entire coral reef out there. So I'm going to get you a video of me diving at the reef, but not today. And I will show you that the reef is now white sand. And where there once was coral heads sticking out from a real live reef that were 8, 10, and 12 feet high, it's all filled in. The best way I could explain it would be if you were walking down an alley and there was 9 or 10 foot concrete walls on either side of the alley, and all along the walls there were breaks. Picture that as coral. Well, now all that filled in, so now it's only 1.5 feet to the top of the concrete wall. Well, all the coral heads that were 10 and 12 feet high off the ocean bottom are now 18 to 24 inches. So those buoys that you see out there, the far ones, they represent what is called a natural nature preserve. What's left of the coral, and there's not much, they put the buoys around so people can't touch, can't fish, can't scuba dive, and you can't swim in there either. So they're trying to preserve what's left of the reef. That's for sure. But the sand has made it impossible for the reef to ever be what it once was. And now I mentioned this in my last video. Out where those white buoys there was coral, what they call brain coral, that might have been 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 feet in diameter, and 10, 12, 13 feet off the ocean bottom, because it grows up towards the sun, where it receives its life energy from, and it grows up over 1 inch per year forever until it gets to the surface, and then it starts to get wider, not higher. So where those 6, 8, 9, 10 foot brain corals used to be, they're gone. They are gone. The sand covered up the coral, and the coral died, and now you just see brown rocks. Where those white buoys are out there was something called elk horn coral, AELK, elk horn, HORN, coral. Those coral heads are like giant fingers. They're like giant, almost like a broomstick that sticks up. It looks like an elk or a moose, the antlers on the elk or a moose. Those elk horn coral or moose coral like outcroppings were 5, 3 feet, 4 feet high off the ocean bottom, and they were 4 and 5 inches in thickness, like the bottom, like a tree, but it looked like a moose coral or an elk horn coral. That's what they named it for. They're gone. They're gone. There are no more elk horn coral out there, none. I saw some small ones about a foot tall, and I also saw that someone threw an anchor on half of what was there and pulled it over, and that's the end of the half of what's there. So it takes, many, many, many years. Could take, I don't know, you'd have to look up the growth rate of elk horn coral in this part of the world, but the other stuff was hundreds of years old. Now it's all gone. It's all gone. All gone. All gone. It's all gone. It's all gone. And now they put the buoys around what little bit is left, and when you go up to the buoy from this side of the buoy, up to the buoy, there's nothing but seagrass and sand. Then there's a little bit of coral, very small amount, 2 or 3 foot, in 2 or 3 feet of water, and small pieces, outcroppings of coral, 1.5 or 2 feet in diameter. And then on the far side of that is the deeper part of the reef, and there is some large coral projections still there, but most of it is dead because the sand covers it with a kind of like blanket of dust, like if you use a leaf blower and the sand from the leaf blower gets on your car. Picture that the ocean is doing the same thing with all of these millions of cubic feet of sand. So nobody did this on purpose, but for lack of forethought and foresight and insight, they allowed all of this sand to be put here to beautify the area. And then we had storms coming from an oddball direction, not 1, not 2, not 3, but like 8 or 9 storms. It's as if the Earth's weather pattern changed and the storms came out of the west, because when I had moved here, they said that they never had a storm from the west, and the first storm that I experienced was probably May of 2014. I lived from where we're standing straight up this way, 1,800 feet. I lived 1,800 feet just behind the Bellevue and 1,000 feet to the left. So now I'm going to take a look at the comments. And Bantayan Brawler, nice day there. Hey, Bantayan Brawler. Okay, I can see the comments now because the sun just took, we have some shade. So I'm going to take a walk out to the pontoons, and I'll set my butt ski down over there. Yeah, the sun, we just got a big cloud right there, big cloud. So where I'm walking now, 10 years ago, I would be in 5 feet of water, 5 feet. And all of this sand washed away. None of this was here. None of this, what they call tidal pools, none of it was here. It was beach, and then to the ocean, and then down a steady slope down to 12 feet of water where the buoys are out there. Now it went from 12 feet deep to exactly 2 feet deep. Right now, that reef is 2 feet deep. And it was 12 feet 10 years ago. I don't know how to explain it. And I do have videos on my other channel, Hoodwinked by an Angel, but YouTube only lets me go back 100 pages and 20 videos per page. So I can't see the videos by scrolling back. Plus, as I said, I'm having a problem with my computer. So I can't actually research by name until I get the computer problem squared away. Bantayan Brawler, thank you and Happy New Year. Nam by Philip Janik, travel and camping guru. What a total mess. Hello to the great Michael Fazio from Philip Janik in downtown province of one of the beautiful provinces of Vietnam. Philip Janik is there. If I had the ability to put your channel link out, I would do so. I'm not sure. Do you have a wrench? No. How would I get you a wrench? I'm not sure how to do it on the cell phone, Philip. Sorry. I don't see it. But we'll get you, when I get the computer up and running, I'll figure that out. So we have a beautiful day here in Bohol. It's pretty hot. I was supposed to go swimming, but I haven't done that. But the person that was supposed to go swimming with me had a leaky faucet or something like that. So that didn't happen. So it's okay. I haven't been swimming in 2 years anyway. So and it would have only been in, I don't know that even she can swim. I'm not real sure about that. It would be only in shallow water. Nothing, no scuba diving or snorkeling or anything like that. But it didn't work out. So, Happy New Year. What else is new? What else is new? Anyway, that's all I got to say. Nobody, you don't see anybody out because everybody is preparing for New Year's Eve. It is New Year's, and tonight they will have, they will either they'll use a floating barge that they have somewhere around here with fireworks, or they'll shoot the fireworks off from the beach area. I'm not sure, but they do quite the fireworks display here. not quite the Macy's Day Parade, but they do a good job with the fireworks here. There's also going to be fireworks at the Modala, which is just down the road there. They might even put them off this platform at the end of this pontoon area here. So it's 30 degrees Celsius here today. We have a 6-mile-an-hour wind coming out of the west. And what we are looking at now is, if you Google high tide Panglao, you will come up to a high tide at 3 p.m. and it's 3 p.m. So we should theoretically have, 10 years ago, there would be 5 feet of water where this buoy is, 5 feet, and now it's a foot. So we have 4 foot of beach erosion from the white sand beach, which is systemic, all the way down the beach, the sand washed. None of these tidal pools were here years ago. It was just beach and then ocean, then to where I live, down where those boats are down at the end. The deepest part between the beach and the reef was 7 feet at high tide. But the deepest part here between the reef and the beach was 10 feet, 11 feet. Now it's 3 feet, and where I live, it's still about 6 feet because no one used any fill down where I live. So that's how I know and have watched this happen to the beach. So I really don't have much else to say. I want to say thank you. I also want to make a public service announcement. I am not kidding about this. I, Michael Thomas Fazio, have never in my life gotten a DUI. Never. I don't drink and drive, but I did when I was in my 20s, but they didn't have the same laws that they have now. When I moved to Florida, I was going to be a Marine Patrol agent, and I was all signed up for the Marine Patrol, Florida Keys Marine Patrol, FUMP, they call it. And I was also signed up for the MCSO, Monroe County Police Department, Corrections Office, and the Police Department. And I learned about drinking and driving because I had to study certain topics. I studied at Indian River Community College up in South Central Florida. And back then is when they instituted a $10,000 ticket for a DUI. So my suggestion to you people is, it's $10,000 for the ticket, first offense, and you have to go to school in order to, your insurance may go up 20%, but if you go to school, it will only go up 10% for 5 years. So my suggestion to you is, don't drink and drive, because it will cost you $10,000 that day. You will go to jail that day, maybe that night. You will have to go to school, and that's a first offense in the state of Florida. And the second offense is $15,000 fine, mandatory 6-month license. Your license is taken away. And if you had a previous DUI years back, it's mandatory 1 year, unless they've changed it since I left. But so does it pay to drink and drive in the state of Florida or even in the United States? The answer is no. You can get a cab for $50 or $100 to get home from where you are. Leave your car where it is. Don't drink and drive. Leave the car where you were drinking. Come back for it tomorrow. Next year you come back for it. Because otherwise you're looking at, for me, I had 6 vehicles. I had my your DUI goes on your captain's license or your driver's license. And that insurance that you have on your boat also goes up 10%. So I had two boats. The insurance for one boat was $3,500 a year, $3,500. And the insurance for the other boat was $1,000. So that was just rounded off to $5,000. 10% is $500 for 5 years. That's $2,500 for the boat insurance. And then I had 5 motor vehicles at about another $3,000. So that add another $3,000 to that $5,000. That's $8,000 plus your ticket at $10,000. That's $18,000. And if there's no way around it, even if you have 5 motor vehicles, you pay the insurance on 5 motor vehicles, the additional 10% for 5 years. So it's not just the car that you get stopped in. So what, $18,000, when you boil it down, how many cabs for $100? How much could it cost you to go 5 miles in a cab? $50 on New Year's Eve? Take a cab. If you have a few drinks, take a cab. Don't risk it. Don't drink and drive, because that is one of my pet peeves, drinking and driving. I saw quite a few accidents in my life, maybe 8 or 9, where people were pulled out of cars from DUIs. It's just a very depressing topic. I don't like talking about it. Once I pulled one of my best friends out of a car. He was driving, he was drinking, he was drunk. He hit a 4-foot thick willow tree, weeping willow tree, a half a mile from my house. His name was Endai. It was a weird name. He lived in Hempstead, but he had the accident right by my house, and I saw it. It was the car in front of me, and he flew by me at 145 miles, 135 miles an hour in a 1971 Mach 1 fastback Mustang. He flew by me. I was coming home. It was September 25th of 1976, 77. I had my yellow station wagon at the time. And he flew by me, and he just went like this, and he swerved. And then he swerved right off the road. Not because of me, but he just lost control. And he smashed straight into a 4-foot thick weeping willow tree. And my friend Tommy and I were in my station wagon, and we just pulled over. I mean, it was only 100 yards ahead of us, and we pulled over. And when I took Andel, not Endel, Andel, Andel, I took him out of the car. He was gone. So DUIs, drinking while intoxicated, drinking while driving, not a good idea. $100 for a cab, no matter where you are, is a lot cheaper and a lot safer. So I wish you guys a safe and happy New Year's. And if nobody else has anything to say, I'll say goodbye. Bantayan Brawler, thank you for the mail. I'm Pink Permy from Michael Fazio in the Philippines, baby. If you guys didn't push the thumbs up, maybe that would be a nice gesture. Happy New Year, thumbs up. Michael Thomas Fazio. I don't think I have anything else to say. Let's turn this camera around and give you a view of the beach. We are going to do a Flat Earth Fazio series coming up. We're going to take one aspect of the Flat Earth knowledge, and we're going to take one piece of knowledge proving that the earth itself is flat, so are the oceans. And we'll focus on just one piece of information, and I'll let you guys ask questions and try to debunk it, and then we'll have some fun with that. So, of course, as I always say, Amping Permi, which means take care always. And we have Fazio is in the house. Fazio is in the house. Oh, Michael Fazio. All right, bye-bye, Philip. Bye-bye, everybody. Happy New Year's from the Philippines, baby. That's right. Oy vey and shalom from Rabbi Chewbacca in the Philippines, baby. That's right.